So before we get too far into this, thanks to my patrons of Tone. If you want to become a patron of Tone, the links are below. And thanks to the latest patron, that is Loki L. Really appreciate it. Thanks, man. Keep these speakers flapping. So, Bryan Adams. What was his main setup? If you could congeal all of his gear into one setup, it kind of was consistent. I didn't know he used Marshalls. So he was a JTM 45 user back in the day, and I've seen him with high watts and AC30s, but the main mix seemed to be Marshall and AC30. So that's the mix I have here. So in this booth is a Seriatone clone of an AC30. I think it's like a Bad Cat clone. And I've got my 69 Plexi for it as well, because surprisingly with Run To You, I thought it was like clean in my mind. My favorite clean tones of all time, things like In Excess, things like that, they're dirtier than I remember. So when I was trying to match it, I was like, I need more grit on this. And then it comes to pass that basically used to put everything on 10 on the AC30 and hit it with a treble boost, and obviously used choruses. I think it was a Boss CS1 that you used to use, and also tube screamers as well. Aficionado of the AC30, I'd say, was his main amp. But when it's cranked, it can get pretty dirty. So that's what I did. I didn't crank it as much, because that with the Marshall, I think on this particular song, they didn't have the treble booster on. They didn't have everything on full. That was when they were rocking out. On this one, I believe that they had the AC30 set to like a more regular clean, and the Marshall was dirtying it up a bit. The producer actually said that on this album they used a Marshall and perhaps a Fender or something. He said, or something. And I think it was an AC30. It could have been a Fender on that one. When he worked later on with Mutt Lange, he did use a Marshall and an AC30. And the good thing about this tone is you can dig in. On these old school amps, when you dig in, it becomes a completely different animal. It again now. Gotta be gentle. I gotta be gentle, lover. I'm sorry. This is I love this guitar, man. This is the guitar that I covered in an old video of mine of Did Guitar Center Rip Me Off, because they sold me this guitar, and in the case it said that it was been sent back because it was a fake. So in the actual case, and I loved it so much that I actually thought, if it's a fake, then I'm going to keep it anyway, because I love the sound and the playability of it. And I actually think it is what they claimed it was, but there was a bit of a drama. Maybe I'll do a video where I take off the neck to see if it really is a Japanese Strat from the 80s. Because, oh yeah, this is a bit of a foreshadowing as well for some of the stuff that we're going to be doing with the MIDI pickup. And also, I'm not sure if you can see in the corner over there. No, you can't because it's laying down. I got a mini Moog, so I'm going to put it through a genuine analog synth. Right? Might even put it through the Leslie speaker as well. This is probably going to fall over. Let's keep it for posterity, huh? So if you're interested in some of the mics and the gear and the setup that they used on this album and on Mutt Lange's albums, press pause. And what can you say about Mutt Lange? What a legend. I actually think that Bryan Adams Can't Stop This Thing We Started, things like that. I actually think that influenced Mutt, because a lot of the rockier tunes on Shania Twain's stuff, he got married to her and then promptly shagged her best friend, rock and roll, because it has that bouncy radio rock thing. I actually prefer the production of, is it Bob Clearmountain, something like that, and because it is more raw, it's more rock and roll than his later stuff, which started to get a little bit sappy. But bitches loved it, bitches including Lady Diana, because he actually tapped that ass when behind closed doors in Buckingham Palace. You just roll right up, go in there, give the princess a quick boning, and then he'd be off again. It's like flash art for Blackadder. What a legend! I love it. I love it. Little unassuming Canadian doing unspeakable things to the patron saint of hearts. Patron saint of shopping. So yeah, what nostalgia, man. First riff I ever learned on guitar was this. And like I say, Paul Francis taught it to me. Thanks, Paul, if you're watching. It's just stories of me and my first band, just carrying drums half a mile, but being proud because I was in a band, going past chicks with my drum kit. Like, hey, what's up? Look at all this I can carry. I'm a big boy. I'm a musician when I was like 16. This treble booster, which I'm not using right now, go listen to Run to You. And remember that my tuning is different, so it's not going to sound like spot on. But listen to what a treble boost does. Listen to how the solo hook in the beginning turns into this singing feedback. And it's, that's the type of shit that Kempers can't do. They're kind of like a straight line of good tone, but there's no surprises. It does, obviously. It will react similar-ish, but the magic isn't there, in my opinion, And boy, do I have an opinion. It actually says on my shirt, it's got Kremper crossed out in the back. Bit of a cheeky, but what you gonna do when it's a Welsh boy? Can't shut my mouth in it. So yeah, researching this, I'm a bit of a Mutt Lange fanboy. He did Pyromania by Def Leppard. I'm not exactly into Def Leppard, but it is undeniable how good it sounded. And he used to put them through the ringer. He tortured that band. Bryan Adams, he's a straight up guy. He's a bit of an imp. He likes to have fun, but he is, when it comes to music, he's straight. One of the best voices that can recreate. Watch any old video of him live. His voice was amazing. There was no auto-tune, no nothing. Just gravelly, natural goodness. Him and Matt would write songs, and once he was saying that he had this verse, and they'd recorded everything, and he said, you know what? I'm not really digging this verse. There's something lacking on it. And Matt just looked at him. He raised all the instruments apart from the drums, and he said, okay, let's write a new verse. Because he was a perfectionist. If there was something that was slightly wrong from the artist side or from his side, he'd try and work it out. Usually from his side, but he obviously agreed with Bryan on that one. So yeah, that's it, man. My first ever riff. What was your favourite riff? And what was your first riff that you ever learned? Hashtag smoke in the water. And we all play it wrong, because he kind of picks and plucks it. So that's good. I was playing it wrong. I didn't know you used to kapoo. All right, chaps, you've been great. Please subscribe and all that shite. Hit like and just let the algorithm know I exist, because I got one of the smallest guitar channels on YouTube, and I'd appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Again, thanks to the patrons of Tone. You guys rock. Coming up next is Does It Doom by Pet. He fucked Lady Diana.